we came at this 3 years into it as a sophomore, sitting on Ag Committee and Financial Services. We all know that Financial Services has control over the SEC side of this, and that the Ag has CFTC. And as a guy who grew up on a sixth-generation farm, we're really good when it comes to commodities and how we do bushels. And I think it's very clear to everybody that Bitcoin is in the commodity space here. It shouldn't be put in with that overly burdensome regulation that comes out of the SEC. But for the last 4 years under the Biden administration, there was no clarity, as it were, on how this was going on. And so it allowed others, whether they were offshore in Bermuda, whether they were in Europe, where they were over-regulating this space. There were a couple of good models, I will say, in London, Singapore, some other locations. But we should be able to do this here in the United States. And so with the market structure here, what we heard increasingly from folks is that they wanted to have clear rules of the road, that we would be able to have an onshore of American innovation, and specifically for places like Bitcoin, that we could have a lot of the commitments to have trust and assurances going forward, that they weren't going to have regulatory flip-flop on this that would ultimately crush a market, drive it off seas or overseas. And then we've also led the Financial Technology Protection Act to add a level of confidence to hometown guys, whether they're in the Midwest or around the world, that there's security behind this by bringing in the best practices from private sector, law enforcement, and our intelligence community to really ensure that this is not a filter or a way that others can defraud or invest illegally. And I think that Bitcoin really provides an example of how this structure can take place successfully.